So we got Kyle here with Best Option Restoration. And Kyle, why don't you tell us a little bit about your business, what you guys do? Give us the elevator pitch.
The elevator pitch.
Yeah.
Hey, so as
We're going up to the 20th floor. We got some time. Take your time.
Cool. So I'm with Best Option Restoration, and we clean up messes, in short, at properties. What that usually looks like is somebody goes home from work and they walk into their house and their kitchen ceiling is sitting on their stove.
Oh gosh.
And they have maybe a swimming pool now in their basement, which not a planned swimming pool.
Sure. Yeah.
And obviously that's an emergency situation, so they call us and we go get the water out, get it clean, get it dry, and then we'll put it all back together.
Nice. You from start to finish, you guys do the whole thing.
Start to finish, yeah.
No,
Whole thing.
That's a messy job.
It is very messy.
But you guys do more than just water cleanup. You guys do mold and other things too, right?
We do, yeah. So if that water's not attended to right, then you can have a mold problem get started. And oftentimes your dishwasher may leak and it's really, really slow. You don't notice anything, and then one day you kind of see that the hardwood floor has popped up a bit, and then you call us out, and turns out we may have to rip up the floor, and sure enough, there's mold under there.
Yeah.
We'll clean it up, and
Get
it may
a dishwasher
be
that doesn't leak too.
Yeah, and then we do other types of cleanup, such as fire and smoke damage.
Okay.
I once had a family that had a pot of chicken on the stove that they got distracted with the kids.
Oh no.
And there was only this much chicken in the pot, standard stovetop, and it smoked up the entire house, and we had a big smoke removal project. So it's not just big fires; it can be something as small as a pot of chicken that causes a problem.
What does the smoke do to the house? It probably just stains it?
Yeah, so you get very small particles.
Okay.
Think of smoke as extremely small particulates, and it
That's why we don't
penetrates
smoke inside anymore.
Yes,
right?
it penetrates the cracks and crevices, and we essentially need to go determine how are we going to get the soot and the odor and the contaminants out of said material. And sometimes we can't. We gotta just tear it out.
Yeah.
And other times it's no, we can definitely clean this, and here's how we're gonna do it.
Okay. So it just depends on how the mess. Every house is different.
Yeah, every house is there's cookie cutter processes to what we do. Every house is unique because they're built differently with different materials at different times.
Yeah.
And each client's unique.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I want to dig into the business more, but let's back
Cool.
up. I want to hear a little more about you. Born in Southern California, you moved here when you were 6?
Yeah, when I was
to Highlands Ranch.
to Highlands Ranch, Colorado.
Do you remember moving here and what was your first impression of Highlands Ranch back then?
There was a vacant lot on our block, and
You don't see that anymore.
you don't see that anymore. And my first impression was, well, I get to go play in this dirt yard
That's cool.
down the street. And
Were you excited about the move?
yeah, I miss my friends, but I was young enough to where I truly don't remember having bad feelings about it.
Yeah.
My parents just said, hey,
You don't have much
Going to
say when you're
Colorado,
6. We
and
moved here
I
last
said,
year when
okay.
my daughter was 6. And so
Okay.
they make friends so fast.
Yeah,
So
and we had a great, I'm still best friends with one of my neighbors that I grew up with, so had a good neighborhood, and got to see Highlands Ranch grow up.
yeah. Which school did you go to?
I went to a school called Mile High Academy,
Okay.
it used to be down by Porter Hospital in Denver, but now it's it's where the old Denver Christian is,
Okay.
which is off.
So you didn't go to school here in Highlands Ranch.
Well, now it is in Highlands Ranch, or
okay.
close to it, because it's off Colorado and or Broadway and
Gotcha.
C470. But no, I didn't go to school in Highlands Ranch.
Okay. And did you go to any of the high schools here? You
No.
went there K through?
Yeah, it was
K
first
through?
grade to my senior
All the
year.
way through?
Yeah, it was quite interesting.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. And then so you went to school, where'd you go to college?
I went to college in Walla Walla, Washington,
Okay.
at a school called Walla Walla University.
Perfect, okay. And you got a business and marketing degree,
I
right?
did, yeah. I got a bachelor's in business with the marketing.
What was the idea? What did you want to do at that time?
I had absolutely no
Okay.
idea. I've always enjoyed.
This is a nice generic degree that I can go do something
Yeah,
with.
it's a little too generic.
I have a degree in
hindsight.
psychology that I'll never use, so
Nice.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. So I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I always I can sell. I like people. I like building relationships, and I thought. Well,
Did
that's
you know
marketing.
that when you were 18, 19?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I always enjoyed social situations, and so I kind of tied that to marketing, I guess, and
Yeah.
that's what I chose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do finance if I'd go back, but
Okay,
here we
yeah.
are.
Because then after school, you went into banking.
I did go into banking. I went to wealth man. It was like a hybrid wealth management and banking
Okay.
relationship management type role.
Did you enjoy that, or was that not?
I did. It was a little too slow for me though.
Okay.
Which is why, like I
like the day-to-day pace of the work was slow.
Yes. Yeah. And I do enjoy finance, so I was studying to get my CFP very early on. I was
marketing and finance are like two different sides of
the
brain.
Yeah. I like numbers. I do. Yeah, I do like numbers.
Yeah. He's left and right brain, folks. That's cool. So then, how did you get out of banking and get into this business?
On one of the holidays, I came back home when my parents still lived here.
Where were you living?
I was living in Washington.
Okay.
So in
Walla
Walla.
You stayed in Washington.
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I stayed in Walla Walla, and I came back to visit my parents on a holiday. My girlfriend, we were married now, but girlfriend at the time came with me, and my mom said, "Hey, do you want to come to this mixer, like a networking event?"
Okay.
So I go to this network, and I'm like, sure. I enjoy meeting people.
How old were you at this point?
I would have been 22,
okay.
I think, and because this would have been 2016.
Okay.
So maybe 22, 23, and I went to this mixer, and I met a guy named Nick, and we just had a conversation. And then afterwards, my mom said, "You really should take him to dinner when you come for Christmas time."
Okay.
And I said, "Sure, I'll."
Who was Nick? What did he do?
So Nick, I'll get there. So I said, "Okay, I'll take this Nick guy to dinner," because I wanted to. He's successful, and I should pick his brain on, hey, what have you done?
Yeah.
Like good conversation.
Mom was just setting you up for a little mentorship.
Exactly, 100%.
Good on mom.
Mom was looking out for me. Thank you, Mom.
Yeah.
So we went to dinner, and we were just chatting. And at the time, I actually was working on a business to do like real estate videos.
Okay.
So little media thing for you. And I was talking to him about that, and it was a side hustle, is what people like to say at the time. And long story short, we started chatting over the next 3 months, and he is the founder of Best Option Restoration.
Oh, cool.
Because we're a franchise system.
Mm-hmm.
And after that dinner, a few weeks later, he says, "Why don't you come? I'm just starting this brand called Best Option Restoration. Why don't you buy a franchise and let's do this thing?"
Yeah.
And he gave me 48 hours to think about it.
Ooh,
another 24. Yeah. And I just said, yeah, I'll do it. I didn't look into restoration. I did not look into franchising. What I saw was I have good EQ, and I said I believe in who Nick is and what he's building, and I want to be a part of that. So
cool.
I said, yeah, I'll come out and start a restoration business.
Nick sounds like an impressive guy.
He's a
you
great
still
guy.
work with Nick?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I do.
Cool. How many franchises are there?
We have over 30.
Okay, wow. And you were the first one?
I was, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I was.
Very
There was about 3 of us originally, so
okay.
I was one of the originals.
Pioneering it all.
Yeah, guinea pig is the term I like to say.
That's fun. So yeah, because I was gonna ask, is like, I didn't know if you had any background in restoration or not, and like, why did you choose a franchise over just kind of going your own route and trying to do it all yourself? Sounds like Nick was kind of the focal point of that, though.
Yeah, he could have told me. I've thought a lot about that, and he could have told me we were doing
anything.
Anything, and I would have said yeah because I saw an opportunity. Let me just have mentorship and learn business, and this seems like a good industry to get into, based on the little that I knew about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really more about the people than it was about the business itself.
That's cool. And you seem like you are. You mentioned something about being competitive.
Yes.
Yeah, you're very competitive.
I actually had a conversation the other day. I asked Nick, I said, hey, does the feeling of losing, I said, you're 47 years old.
Yeah.
Does the feeling of losing ever go away? Because I was losing at Mario Kart to my sister-in-law, and it was really bothering me.
That's interesting.
And he told me, no, it does not go away.
That's hilarious, because I actually do not care about losing.
What?
Nope. Are you familiar with like Enneagrams at all? Like your personality types?
I've taken some personality tests.
Okay. You sound like an Enneagram 3 to me, which is like the competitive, driven type.
Okay.
The achievers. They're like very self-motivated to like, and they want people to view them as successful, and they want to be successful, and they like everything is a competition kind of.
I'm gonna take an Enneagram.
Yeah, I don't think you need to. I think I know.
I've been diagnosed.
Well.
I'm good.
Well, I'm an Enneagram 7, and so I'm very social. And so to me, the game is getting to be social, right? And so like I win whenever I get to like have fun and hang out with my friends and hang out with people and be social. So like to me, like I don't care. Like I play a lot of basketball. I play basketball 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Could care less if I win or lose the games. And I think that probably bothers my teammates a little bit. But to me, it's not about winning or losing the basketball game. It's about getting to play with my friends and making friends. To me, it's like all networking. It's all just now all my good best friends are people that I met playing basketball when I moved here a year ago. So to me, it's like I'm not competitive in that way, but it's just a social experiment for me.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't care about games at all. So like board games and stuff, my kids are cheating, trying to win, and I'm like, I don't care. We just play, whatever. So they're a little too young to play board games. I found out the hard way, but.
All right. We'll beat you before too long.
Yeah. We were doing Don't Break the Ice. You know, you have a little hammer and you break the little ice.
Yeah.
And my 2-year-old, he's just smashing it and just wants me to flip it over and put it back together and then flip it back over and then he smashes it. So he doesn't quite get the idea, the concept yet, but he's working on it. In time,
yeah.
For sure. So your marketing background and banking background, I wanted to ask, how do you feel like how have you brought those skills into your business and how has that helped you be successful?
Yeah, I think a couple ways. One, it sharpened my skills in relationship building. I think the thing that all businesses have in common is people are going to do business with who they know, like, and trust. Very cliche, but that's true.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, oftentimes while you have business conversations, there's a lot of just getting to know you conversations, and then if you trust them, the business conversations are pretty short.
Yeah.
Because it's, hey, I trust you, you say you're going to do this.
Yeah.
Great.
I've seen your work.
Yeah.
I know you know what you're doing. I like you.
So I think the marketing, the banking background, like that industry lives that through and through, especially when you're talking about being a fiduciary for somebody.
Yeah.
That's a very high level of trust. They're slower decisions a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So sharpen there. And the other side is just a high level of customer service and communication. And that's something where I think our industry being, the broad spectrum of contractors.
Yeah.
There's almost everybody has a bad story to share about a contractor. Not almost everybody has a good story to share about a contractor. So you can take the customer service skills and communication and all that and apply it to the industry and come out with a good product and service.
That's great. So how big is your team now? I imagine when you started it was just you.
Yes.
Okay, and then so are you acting almost as a general contractor at that point and you're just facilitating, or are you out doing the restoration?
No, I'm not out. I mean, we had a huge surge, so I do what's needed, and every now and then I'll pick up a water extractor and suck water out. But most of my time,
you know how to swing a sledgehammer.
Yeah,
I imagine.
Yeah, I can swing one if I need to. But a lot of my time is spent supporting my team.
Okay.
So I do marketing and sales, and then I also support my team into whatever their job is.
Cool.
So,
tell me about your team.
So the team, we have two primary divisions. We have reconstruction and mitigation. So mitigation is the emergency response team. They're when you say, hey, I got a pool in my basement, I need to get the water out. That's the team that's coming out to get the water out.
How big is that team usually?
That team, we have really a team of 5.
Okay.
Plus a job coordinator in the office that's really supporting them from a coordination role.
Okay.
But they're all the boots on the ground.
And do they get called out in the middle of the night, or is it like,
sometimes,
hey, we'll just shut the water off, we'll figure it out in the morning?
It's a combination of both. What I found is clients want to know that everything's going to be okay.
Okay.
And so if they trust me,
yeah,
because they have to be willing to trust when I tell them it's going to be okay. They have to trust it. If they trust me, and after speaking with them, and hey, I understand your situation. Here's what we're going to do. It's going to be okay. Then we don't always need to respond right then. But there are situations where the right move is we need to get on site right now.
Yeah. I imagine a lot of the calls you get are panic phone calls.
For sure.
We're freaking out. This happened.
Yes.
And so you are doing like de-escalation a lot. Is that a big part of your job?
Certainly, yeah. And it's a lot of listening. Hey, we do this every day. Tell me about what happened. And, hey, it's going to be all right. Here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And there's different, you have your like engineer accountant type who wants to get in the weeds and they want the details.
Yeah. How much is this going to cost me today?
Yeah, and then the cost and all that. And then you have the other type where, I've had people with a basement full of water and they are so relaxed, so chill. They're like, can you make it, sometime in the next couple days? and then I have the opposite end of the spectrum where there's a smaller water loss or water leak, water intrusion, and in their mind it's a big deal.
Sure.
And those, I really like helping those folks. Said, look, here's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
We're gonna get you to the finish line, and it's gonna be all right.
Yeah. What's typical turnaround for the average job for like from when you get the call to when their house is back to? I mean, I know it varies depending on.
Yeah, it definitely varies depending on job size, but average is gonna be a couple weeks.
Okay.
And what that timeline looks like is on the mitigation side, it's 3 to 7 days on average. I'd say 3 to 5 is a very constant time.
And a lot of that is waiting for things to dry, I imagine, right?
Yeah, so there's usually one big day of what we call controlled material removal, in which we might need to remove some drywall or some flooring. And then once we get the equipment set up, on average, it's about 3 days to dry it out. And we use heat technology in drying.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. You said that was kind of one thing you thought set your business apart. So tell me about how you guys dry things out.
Yes, so if you think about drying your clothes,
yeah.
You put it in the dryer. If you don't put any heat on the dry cycle, it might take a couple hours to dry.
Take a long time.
That load. Or sometimes we won't even get dry because there's big comforters and heavy, dense load.
No, I've seen people where there's floods and they just put big fans up. That's kind of what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, and so they get air movement on it.
Yeah.
But if you think about drying your clothes and you add heat to the cycle, well, now we might be able to dry that load out in 30 to 40 minutes. Yeah. We're not drying a house out in 40 minutes, but we are certainly expediting the process from a 5-day dry out to a 3-day dry out.
Okay.
In addition, sometimes we're able to save materials that if you didn't use heat, you can dry them fast enough
to
salvage.
Some boards, you get them dried quicker.
Yeah.
And you're going to be able to salvage that. Save the customer money.
Yep. 100%.
And time.
Time and money.
Kind of back into their home.
Yeah.
Living their normal life. The goal is to reintroduce normal living back to them as quickly as possible. Right?
Yeah, we are restoring what once was, and we want to get them back in their day to day. Home is a comfortable, safe space, and we want to get them back to that place as soon as we can.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that. We quick story. My family lives in the Houston area, and so hit by hurricanes.
Yeah.
And we actually kind of live up on a hill, even though there's not very many hills there. Our house is up on a hill, and totally untouched by the hurricane, except a tree fell on the house and punched a hole in it, and then it rained for 3 days into the house. And my family was out for, I think my parents, I was in college, but they lived in an RV in the front of our house for 6 months. When those hurricanes come through, everyone needs their house repaired, and so you get tons of people coming in there, and people not upstanding businesses like yours. I don't know how that nice.
Buyer beware, you gotta watch out.
I don't know what you guys call that when people just go into a
storm chasing.
Yeah,
ambulance chasers as well.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of that. So, it took them 6 months, I think, to get back into their house, maybe even longer. Just living in an RV in the front of their front yard. So
that's tough.
Yeah. You mentioned when you filled out when we talked earlier. That your mission is to leave the world better than you found it. That's kind of your mission statement. And am I saying that right?
You got it.
Yeah, just leave the world better than you found it.
Yeah.
I like that. So tell me about how that plays out practically speaking in your business, though.
Yeah. So that statement is it's kind of a tangible and an intangible statement to what we do. The tangible side is you had a mess in your property, and when we're done, it's going to look like it's supposed to, right? It's going to look like before anything ever happened, and it's going to be almost brand new again. The other side of it is the intangible, and that's how we're treating people, right? That's how me over our team, how am I communicating with my team members? How am I treating my vendors? We use subcontractors for certain things. If there's something very specialty that we need somebody for, or we have to do a lot of testing, so we have testing companies that we work with. It's how we treat them. Are we being respectable and kind and direct and not shady? And then most importantly, how are we treating clients? Are we treating them with the respect that they deserve? And when if everybody takes that mindset, not only are we going to do a great job, but we're going to leave a really good impression, and people are going to be happy that they chose us.
Cool. And you're looking for subcontractors who share a similar mission, I imagine.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a requirement. Yeah. I work with a lot of subcontractors too, right? So we'll book a big project, and then we have to, I need someone to run audio, and I need someone to DP it, and I need someone to edit it, and I constantly communicate. I'm I care way more about your attitude and how hard you work than I do about the actual skills that you have. The skills are important, but attitude and how you treat my client, how you treat the project.
You can develop the skills.
You can develop the skills. Yeah. You can't develop attitude, I find. So or just like your interpersonal skills, right, are super important. So
and the river runs so deep with those. I mean, it started way back.
Yeah, that's good. Is that something Nick taught you?
A
little bit?
Probably.
Yeah, that's probably on the way. Another thing you mentioned was just keeping business simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's something I try and do as well. Can you elaborate on that for me?
Yeah, I think this could go a lot of directions, but oftentimes I find things start getting overcomplicated only because there's a lot of worry. Like, well, what if this happens? And what if this happens? What if that? No, just keep it simple. If the partners you choose to work with are the right partners, and everyone keeps it simple, when problems come up, you have no problem conquering them. It's because it's straightforward. Mm-hmm. And I was just on a call before I came here, and it was really about, well, yeah, what if, because we're working on a contract with a prospect, and it's, well, what if this or that? No, let's keep this contract simple.
It's not going.
And let's go do a great job, and it's gonna work out.
Cool. I like that a lot. I imagine you have a lot of great like success stories. Did you have something that you could share, just like an anecdote of like a project that you guys did that went really well and just like really helped your client out?
Yeah. So, I got a few. I'll choose a recent one.
You can do it more than one.
Well, I took this as a compliment. It happened yesterday, but I got reached out to. It was a quite large project down at a custom home in Castle Rock, and we helped them out a couple years back. So they had a flood in the basement, and the project overall ended up taking, it was 2 or 3 months project because we had to order custom slip tile and custom vanity, and
you can't just run to Home Depot.
Yeah, we weren't running, and so a lot of the time we were doing was waiting for materials on different things. And they sent me a message yesterday. They were one of the nicest clients, very communicative on there, and they were a good client, the kind of client you want. Yeah. And we did a great job for them as well. And they hit me up yesterday via email about, hey, we have this project coming up, and it was for roofing and some stuff that's out of my scope. But it was a huge compliment that they even thought of me to say, hey, will you take this?
Put a new roof on?
Yeah, will you take this project on? I really wanted to, just because they reached out. I did refer it to a great friend of mine that I know will do a good job.
It's so nice having people that you can refer things to. Yeah. I get asked to do like live streaming a lot, and I'm like, it's just not something that we do or are interested in doing. We don't have, you know what I mean? It's just not what we do. And so, but having like people, I have two friends who do live streaming that I can just refer them to and just like know that they're going to get taken care of. Yeah. It's so nice.
It's great to be able to say they're going to get just as good of a service as if I help them. Yeah. The other one is, this was also a recent project. I received the phone calls from a friend who, it was about 5:45 in the evening, and it's a friend calling, so I'm like, well, I could probably call her back, but something kicked me like, you need to answer this phone call. And being in the business I am, it's very rare I don't answer the call, because you just never know. But I was in a conversation with somebody, I was like, you know what, I better answer this call. So I answer it, and sure enough, panic state on the phone, and you know, my heart just felt for them right away, and I said, hey, I'm coming right over, because the phrase they used, my living room is raining.
Oh.
So just a little supply line had leaked from the master bathroom, and it went down three levels and affected a good majority of the house. So that was one where it was not appropriate to say, hey, we'll be there tomorrow.
We'll see you in the
morning. We are on our way. That's the best phrase we can give. We are on our way, and we're going to take care of this for you.
Yeah, that's awesome. I doing trim in our house in Fort Collins, and just did the trim, painted it, sealed it, whatever, and I put new floorings in, put new trim in. We get a call from a babysitter. We were at the Nuggets game. We were in Fort Collins. We lived in Fort Collins, but obviously the Nuggets game down in Denver. Got a call from our babysitter. There's water shooting out of your into your basement, and I had punctured I knew there was a little drip. There was a little drip coming down. It was just like every couple of minutes, and I was like, well, "That's weird. We got a leak." And so I called the plumber, and they're like, "It doesn't sound very important. We'll be by next week. Just put you on our regular schedule." I was like, "Okay." Well, it wasn't. Turns out it was important, and luckily our basement wasn't finished, but it did shoot out the side, and we had to replace some of the flooring and stuff. But she calls us in a panic, like, water's shooting out of the basement. It just was gushing everywhere.
Did you when you shot the trim, did a nail go into?
Yeah, exactly.
One of the lines.
One of the copper lines.
Dang.
Yeah. Yep. So
Seen
unfortunate.
It.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna ask. Like, I'm sure you've seen it all.
Oh yeah,
Sure
people will hang things on the walls and puncture a drain line, or because the drain lines are thicker, so there's not as much clearance usually between the drywall and
closer to the wall. Yeah.
yeah. So there's more likely that you just.
I mean, the copper pipe is this big, and the line, and it's I don't know how
it doesn't take much to cause a big problem.
Yeah, and I was just just
and
going crazy going crazy with the nails. Not really thinking. I'm not. I'm handy, but I'm not like a trade. I don't have any real skills. So, well, cool. Tell me about like the future. What's in the works for you guys? What are you guys looking to do more of?
I mean, we are nationally, we're growing fast.
Yeah.
We are actively taking on new franchises.
Cool. Where are most of them in Colorado area? Where are most?
We have 7 here.
Okay.
And then everybody else. So if we're about just over 30. Everybody else are in other states. Our next biggest presence is gonna be Texas.
Okay.
And followed by. There's a lot of like 1 or 2 office states, or 2 or 3 office states. So Kentucky, Ohio.
What kind of range do you guys get whenever you get a franchise?
Territories around 250,000.
Okay.
As far as like a certain by
how do y'all measure that?
Yeah, by population. Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's a huge area. It's a lot to service.
Yeah.
Just for one territory.
Okay. Cool. So they're not stacking them on top of each other. They're not McDonald's.
It's all protected by zip codes, So if you were saying, hey Kyle, I want to come buy a franchise, we'd carve out a territory.
Is there somewhere you're looking for right now that in an area? Can you say? You might not. You look at.
We're just. I think with we have a lot of open territory.
Gotcha.
Because 30 offices, it sounds like a lot. It's not a lot.
Yeah, it's a big country.
Yeah, we have a lot of space.
Any international options?
Not at this time, no.
Maybe not.
Maybe in the future.
The other thing you mentioned was that you said, I asked you kind of what was going good, and you said your team is really dialed in. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? What does that mean, and what does that mean for your customers too?
And great question. So for the team being dialed in, that's, hey, I understand what my role is, and I'm doing my job, and hopefully a little bit more. I kind of say there's 2 types of employees.
Yeah.
There's the ones that they want to show up. They'll do a great job, but they want to do their job no more. That's every company needs those. Then you have the employees and the team players say, well, I want to do everything that my job is, but I really want to push. I want to help this company grow, and I want to do a little bit more than what my job is. And it's good to have a mix of both, and we have that, which is awesome. So they understand here's the job that I need to do and the goal that we need to accomplish, and they're doing it. I'm not a micromanager. I don't work well when I need to be. I don't do well at it because it's just not who I am. It's, hey, here's the assignment. I'll support you to no end, but you gotta let me know if you need something.
Yeah.
Let me know if you need something. It'll happen.
I'm not gonna be looking over your shoulder.
Yeah, but I'm not
gonna come watch you.
And if you tell me, I like giving trust rather than earning trust. I'll give you trust and then I'll pull it back, which is a little bit different style.
Yeah.
And that allows the freedom though for that person to grow. And I'm not gonna let them make a mistake that's gonna be so consequential. But they may make a mistake, and then we talk about it and we do better the next time.
Yeah, you can't let your employees operate out of fear. Right?
No.
You gotta give them freedom to make mistakes, and if you make a mistake, that's fine. We'll figure it out. We'll correct it.
Yes.
And then I'm not going to give them enough rope to make like a fatal mistake.
Right.
Right. So if they make a mistake, it's okay. We'll figure it out together. We'll make it right, and we'll learn from it.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world. So mistakes are going to happen all the time. So.
Yeah, and as long as we learn from them, it's okay. It's part of growth.
Yes, exactly. So you can almost always make it right.
Yep.
So awesome. Well, how can people get a hold of you?
The best way to get a hold of us is call our office.
Okay.
Should I put my number?
Yeah, go for it.
So
we'll put it in the show notes too.
That'll be awesome. It's 720-408-1688.
Okay.
If they want to talk to me,
that goes to your phone.
That goes to the office.
Okay.
Yeah, that goes to the office. If they do want to
text him, actually, that's his phone.
Yeah, if they want to talk to me, then you can just tell the office you want to talk to me specifically.
Yeah.
They can mention the Future Fox podcast. And
sure.
It'll give them a little a little inside lane,
Alright,
I
yeah.
suppose. But that'll provide some context for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
My socials are out there. That's fine. You can
Is there any preemptive things that people can be doing to prevent ever having to call you?
maintenance,
Okay.
routine home maintenance? For example, if you have toilets, don't let your supply lines sit for 10 years.
Okay.
Every few years, change out those supply lines because that's a lot of what breaks.
Yeah. Is that the number one culprit usually?
Supply lines are a huge culprit.
Yeah.
Another one are the supply lines which are plastic that go to an ice maker in a fridge.
Oh.
Do the coil, they're metal
Okay.
supply lines instead of a small plastic supply line.
Okay.
Those break all the time,
Okay.
and those don't care what time of year it is. The other part is typically our biggest surge besides rain. So rain coming in from window wells, that's more make sure your landscaping style thing. To a certain point, with the rains we've had recently, the houses weren't built to handle all that rain because we don't get that much rain usually, and it really exposed weak points around the house where water could get in. So it's really, do you have
Just
any
happened
areas
to
that
a friend of mine in Fort Collins, rain got in, redid the whole thing, redid his landscaping, and it still wasn't enough.
No
Rained
way.
Again. He was out there digging trenches trying to keep the rain
Oh,
out of his
that is
basement
so
for the second
tough.
time. I know. He's just out in the rain, just digging and
Yeah.
bailing water. So.
yeah? And on that note, make sure you have a sump pump and a working sump pump.
Okay.
What many calls we got during the rains were, well, my sump pump failed.
Mm.
Well, you don't know what you don't know until
Yeah.
it gets there, unless you're actively testing them, and every few months just make sure it's plugged in, it's working,
Good.
and it's pumping water. And then for the winter time, if we get to 25 degrees, well, that can certainly cause a problem for burst pipes. When we see a huge influx is when it's many days of 15 degrees or less.
Yeah.
And that really exposes, is this house properly insulated? For example, if you have a pipe that's supposed to have some spray foam insulation around it and maybe it got chipped away over the years,
Yeah.
well, we might need to put a little bit more spray foam insulation in the cracks so that air doesn't come through. And in addition to it, have we walked in the attic a lot and exposed some pipes? Well, let's make sure we go put that insulation back over the pipes.
Cool. Is that something you guys can do? Can people
We
call
can
you
put
out?
back insulation, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, can people call you to come inspect and check the house?
That's a really good question. We could, I
I'm
suppose.
just curious.
I don't have like, hey, we'll just do a general inspection.
Okay.
Like
Hey, new service item.
yeah, maybe it's something to look into. Most of the time, people call us because they notice some sort of, even if it's minor, some problem. Hey, can you guys come check this issue out?
Yeah.
And we'll come in and take a look at it.
Cool. Awesome. I think that's it. Do you have anything else that people need to know about?
No, I
Cool. Well, thanks for your time.
think we're
Kyle.
good. Cool.
Appreciate it,
Thanks
man.
for having me today. I
You're very
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Awesome. Take care.